Hey there, Happy New Year and welcome to 2026. My name is Pete and I think it's time for another channel update. In today's video, we will mostly look back at the year that just passed, but there are a few things about the upcoming year as well that I want to mention. Let's take things one step at a time though and start with the previous year. First and foremost, 2025 marks my first year as a full-time YouTube content creator. This was a change that I honestly had been thinking about for several years before making it. I have to say, I was a bit scared going into it, but at the same time, I've been running this channel for almost 10 years at this point, which I think ultimately helped manage my expectations and gave me a pretty good idea of what I was getting myself into. Today, 1 year later, I can honestly and confidently say that I'm very happy with where I am, both professionally as well as mentally. Quitting my job at the university and putting all of my eggs into this one basket seemed risky at the time, and it also meant leaving behind a job that I was very passionate about, but at the same time I cannot stress enough what a big relief it was for me. Suddenly, I no longer finish working at one job just to be met with my to-do list from the other. I no longer wake up in the morning feeling just paralyzed by all the stuff I need to get to. My work-life balance has improved tremendously, and I can finally enjoy things like having a weekend again or taking a few days off. At the same time, the perfectionist in me is of course not gone. I often feel like I could have done more and occasionally need to remind myself that I too deserve to go on vacation or be sick or get married, something that also happened last year and took up a considerable amount of time. All in all, 2025 was a very exciting year for me, but ultimately a good one, and I'm looking forward to 2026, where the massive project of organizing my own wedding is no longer looming above my head. Maybe it can be just a normal year then. Maybe that sounds boring, but I don't think life always needs to be one excitement after another. I have a few more thoughts on that matter once we talk about plans for the next year, but let us first wrap up this brief look back, and let's do so by talking about the things that actually happened here on this channel. Let's begin with what else could it be but Rimworld, the channel's most popular game for many years at this point. In 2025, we finished both our playthrough of Rimworld Anomaly and began our series on Odyssey, and I don't really want to talk about the content of either one too much. I have done so in various channel update videos before. There are, however, two things related to these two series that I do want to mention. First of all, regarding our Rimworld Anomaly series, I want to once again bring up the fundraiser we did for Polar Bears International. That series was, so far, my first and only time using the donation fundraising feature here on YouTube, and the fact that together as a community we raised almost $7,000 for polar bear conservation in the Arctic, that was honestly one of my personal highlights in 2025. I'm witnessing pretty much on a daily basis how positive this community is when interacting with each other, and that by itself already makes me so incredibly happy because it is unfortunately not the normal thing to expect these days. But to then actually see so many people jump onto a cause that truly means something to me, that felt truly special, and I once again want to thank each and every one of you who donated. That fundraiser is still going, by the way. You can find it next to any Anomaly video I uploaded. I just didn't really see a reason to end it. What if someone watches one of those videos 3 or 5 years later and decides to help out with a small donation of their own? Well, I don't really want to stop anyone from having that possibility. Now, onto the second Rimworld related thing, which doesn't really have to do with any Rimworld expansion in particular, and it might sound weird at first, but please bear with me. Over the last few months, I think, I have slowly come to the realization that if it was announced tomorrow that Rimworld would not receive any further expansions, then I think, weirdly, I would be very much okay with that. Don't get me wrong, I'm not burnt out on the game or anything that drastic. It's just that if for years your job and your creative process revolves at least partially around one thing again and again and again, well, I won't sugarcoat it, that can get a bit tiring. For me, creativity within the context of this YouTube channel is sparked by new stories, new gameplay mechanics, new characters, and of course with each new expansion Rimworld is adding a small dose of the aforementioned, but at the same time these expansions are doing just that, they are expanding a core gameplay loop. And again, I'm not saying that I'm bored by it, but I am at the point where I would be okay with this current Rimworld series being my last. I know this sounds harsh and maybe it needs to be taken with a grain of salt, I recall already having beginnings of these thoughts back when I ended the Anomaly series, and then the Odyssey expansion hooked me right back in. That expansion did, however, come with the expansion of graph ships, which I believe have the potential to fundamentally change the way you approach the game, and I'm afraid that if a future expansion does not add anything with a similarly game-changing potential, then I might perhaps not be as intrigued by it. I hope you understand where I'm trying to go with this, and at the moment these are also only just thoughts, not a concrete decision to stop doing Rimworld videos after the Odyssey series is over, but the purpose of these videos is to show you some of the thoughts and processes that go on behind the scenes, and this is something that I have been thinking about a lot lately. Now, let's not just talk about Rimworld, we did play some other games last year after all. However, what I have to say about them is perhaps not as interesting to you at the moment. I don't think I need to sing Baldur's Gate 3's praises yet again. The game is still fantastic and hugely enjoyable to me, and I'm so happy that after being hesitant to dive into a full series in those first 2 videos, I ended up doing exactly that, and it was absolutely the right decision. With several hundred hours under my belt now, I can confidently say that Baldur's Gate 3 is one of the best games I've played in the last 10 years, and sharing it with you is an absolute privilege. That being said, I still think that once Act 1 is complete, we are going to take a short break. Like I said earlier, the spark of creativity and all that, sometimes you just need a change of scenery to stay motivated, no matter how good the game you're playing is. That need for a small change of scenery was also my main motivation behind starting another Sims 3 series. I know that it is far from the channel's most popular content. I feel like this is perhaps more of a series that I'm doing for myself, that some of you happen to enjoy as well. And since we just wrapped up all adventures in Al-Samhara, Egypt, we will hopefully be able to do the same with the other 2 destinations soon, so I don't foresee the series running for that much longer. Finally, technically, just to be fully complete here, we also played Tactical Breach Wizards in 2025, as the last episode of that series went up just a few days after the new year began. I believe, however, that I have said all I wanted on the game and its mechanics. Go check it out if you haven't already, it is truly fantastic. And I know that we still have those dream missions left to complete, and I promise we will get to those once I am no longer juggling 3 series at once. Now, initially I also thought that a full look back at the previous year would not be complete with a list of my personal games of 2025, until I sadly realized that apart from what you saw on the channel, I didn't actually play a lot of other games last year. So I'll just give 2 brief shoutouts here to games that I did play and very much enjoyed. The first is Kingdom Come Deliverance 2, which I wish I spent more time with actually. I only played through the first few hours of it, but I loved it. The other game is Escape from Duckov, which somehow popped out of nowhere a few months ago. After watching a few YouTube videos, I bought it myself to see what all the hype was about, and well, what can I say, I truly enjoyed my time with it. Now, with all of that being said, let's set our sights on the year ahead, and this is where we pick a train of thoughts back up from a few minutes ago, when I mentioned that I was hoping for this being just a normal year. Because, truth be told, I would be lying if I now presented you with a nice long list of New Year's resolutions, exciting promises or grand plans for the upcoming year, even though that is likely what you're used to seeing over the last few days on your social media. I'll be honest, the quote-unquote grand plan for 2026 is to just keep doing what I do, maybe try out a few things here and there, but overall I see no need to reinvent the wheel or to drastically change things up. Now, I would love to see the channel grow to 200,000 subscribers this year, and I have a few ideas, things I could see myself try out over the next 12 months, but nothing that warrants any sort of announcement just yet. Maybe that is disappointing to some of you, but I truly feel like seeing all these ambitious and well thought out New Year's resolutions everywhere in every social media feed I open creates a tremendous amount of pressure, a feeling that we all need to constantly strive for something more, something better, or some form of self-improvement. Now, I'm not saying that you shouldn't, but I also feel like it is almost equally important to find contentment, to find satisfaction with who you are and what you're doing, and I think I have found that, for the most part, with myself and with this channel. Sure, there are always a few things that I think I could still work on, but overall I'm happy with things the way they are, and I feel like it would be dishonest to paint you this picture of me with all these ambitious goals and grand plans, knowing that I'm mostly doing it because that's what everyone expects around this time of the year, and not because I truly want to change things up. Sure, a new year can certainly be the inspiration for change, but it doesn't have to be, so why force it? Nonetheless, that does not mean that I'm not open for your inputs, quite on the contrary actually. I would in fact be very happy to hear what you would like to see in 2026 on this channel. Are there any video game releases that you anticipate eagerly? Any games from previous years that you feel would fit the channel perfectly? Or any new video formats that you would like to see me do? On that note, I think I've mentioned it before, but the channel also turns 10 years old in March, and I'm also still open for suggestions on what you would like to see to celebrate. In recent years, it has become kind of a tradition that we start a new series around the channel's birthday, and I also think I have narrowed down a list of potential games that I could see myself play. Without spoiling too much, the two currently at the top should appeal to a broad audience. These two games are in fact so widely popular that I believe they would be the most well-known games I ever had on the channel. But don't worry, that's not why I have my eye on them. I have several hundred hours in either one of them, and a few ideas on how to give you a playthrough that you probably haven't seen yet among the hundreds already out there. But the decision is still not finalized, and like I said, I'm open for suggestions, so feel free to leave all of your thoughts and ideas in the comments down below. And with that, I think we have reached a good point to wrap up this first channel update video of the year. Before we make the cut though, there is one more thing we have to get to. It is a quarterly tradition to give a big shout out to all the new channel members and Patreon supporters who have joined the channel since the last update video. So as always, in no particular order, I want to say thank you to channel members K Fyra, Steph, Sergeant Rivo, Blood Angel, Cassidy Conover, Larry Winton, Jomas, K Mankiru, Harvey Danger, and Steph Rad. And from my Patreon supporters, I want to thank Valkyr, Ryan, Scrambled Legs, Peter, That Guy Furion, Buying, Pyroid Eye, Christian von Essen, Morella44, Josh Nason, Ewan Shen, Martin Dan Ringberg, Daniel Rivera, Pig Greaser Stanklin, Damien, Ben, Olive Fell, Baron Delaney, Shartiniques, Jake Arenberg, Rusovich, Atros, Archangel, Alexander Cooper, Aaron Brown, Ben Buckton, Mark Wyatt, Demos, Gigabyted, Patrick Loretan, and Skull Industries. I hope I pronounced all of your names and nicknames correctly, but above all, thank you all so much for your generous support. And with that, let's make the cut in this first channel update video of 2026. I hope you enjoyed another brief look behind the scenes of Pete Complete, and if you did, then I would be very happy if you could give the video a thumbs up. Of course, if you like what I'm doing and want to support me and my channel further, then you can go ahead and subscribe to stay up to date, grab some merch over on shop.petecomplete.com, or also become a channel member or Patreon supporter. Thank you all for watching, and I'll see you next time. Cheers.